down the hammer and pick up the pencil. You're about to listen to the Savvy Radio Show. Learn from real-life real estate investors, experience revealed with the Savvy Landlord as your host.
Hey, what's up, party people? This is your friend, Steve VanCauwenbergh, the Savvy Somebody. You tuned in to the Savvy Podcast. Hopefully you're doing good. If you're been a follower, it could have been called the Savvy Radio Show, but, you know, more people recognize the podcast versus radio. I guess I'm dated and aged. But sometimes with dated and age, you get wisdom. And I don't know if today's episode is about wisdom, but it's about frustration. I'm telling you, this podcast has been building inside of me for a long time. I'm kind of just frustrated and pissed off about society, right? Nah, I'm just playing. No, I'm talking about people that I'm coaching in general. Ooh, what do you mean? What I mean is, like, everybody wants to be a CEO. Everybody wants to do great big things, even multi-million-dollar net worth, right? I mean, come on. But the reality is you got to work. You got to work. And you got to work in a lot of ways, not just in one specific discipline. And it's just interesting. Right now in this season of my life, I have been fortunate to be coaching some incredible people. And it's kind of like this theme that has been bleeding over between client to client about being a CEO. A new client just came on board, and he's kind of been an operator. And I'm like, do you know the difference between an entrepreneur and an operator? And I think that's one disconnect. That's one big podcast I have been boiling in my mind and my heart for a long time. And this is probably not the episode. I'm telling you, there's so much I got to say. I'm trying to speak as fast as possible. But the theme today is CEO. And I'm not trying to be rude. And I'm telling you, and then when I'm speaking right now, this is not about me. This is not about that I'm a good CEO. I'm telling you, I think to be a true CEO, that's, chief executive operator, basically the boss running this show. And it's so interesting. Everyone has their own interpretation of what a CEO is, right? And it's just, and I'm just fortunate that you could be a CEO, and I love Brian Tracy, of your own world, okay? But I think there's some common traits, there's some common character skills, there's skills, and this is going to be a forever podcast, I think, in my mind. But I'm just getting enraged in sessions I'm going to, or I'm in conversations with entrepreneurs, and it's just, it just needs to come out. Like, I really think that there needs to be a blue collar, down and dirty, and I was even trying to come up with a name, and the name that I came up with was like the gritty CEO. And it's just, and right now so many people are popping in my mind, like the guy that owns the carpet store. You're a CEO, and you got to do these skills. You got to acquire these skills or work on these skills. And if you don't have these certain skills, you need to outsource these skills. And there's no perfect CEO. It's kind of an interesting subject here, but I'm going to tell you some key things that have just been freaking pissing me off that I'm just going to drop them for you. Okay. Number one, you're a CEO and you're running a multi-million-dollar business, and that multi-million-dollar business is apartments, okay? And this is for my real estate friends out there. And I'm still in the real estate world, even though I keep trying to run away from the real estate world. Everyone's going right. Everybody's doing this. I'm going left. Like, just if I could see one more guru on Facebook, I'd get paid. But I still have real estate clients. I still buy real estate. I'm still in the real estate game. It's just not my gist. But there's someone I hang out with, and he's a syndicator, and he's got 1,000 units on lockdown, and he's a CEO. Okay, he managed this management company. He raises funds, millions of dollars. We've raised it together, and he's extremely frustrating me because the way he interacts with people. Okay, and this spurred from a conversation of a group of clients I had yesterday. I had an awesome meeting yesterday, and you are the product. Okay, if you are if you're the CEO, you bleed the product, right? If you're drinking Pepsi and you're the CEO of Coke, that's a no-go. If you're a douchebag, you're not a CEO. If you're in a customer care business and you're rude, you're not a CEO, okay? I know that maybe it sounds aggressive, but here's a situation. Here's the basic skill of a CEO. Watch what the F you say. Okay, now listen, this is why I'm hypocritical here, because I'm so wild. I had somebody listen to the podcast and text me, and from my last podcast, I didn't know my coach's last name, and I just said something, and he's like, that's a typical VanCauwenbergh. I'm a hypocrite. Thank you for texting me that, because I just didn't realize what I was saying. I'm trying to be real, and I'm trying to be freaking authentic with you folks. We're running out of effing time. But you are the product. You are the focal point. You make it happen. You're not in a jet somewhere. You got to be down in the trenches. If you're going to be the real deal, even the guy that runs Southwest Airlines will get on sales calls, will get on customer service calls to get an understanding of the company. You can't be removed. If you're going to be you need to know what your business is doing and how does it function in the processes. Now, you as a CEO, you probably shouldn't take inbound sales calls. But, it wouldn't be a bad idea, but that's not a pretty much best suited time for you, best use of your time. But if you're articulating your company's message, you're sending out a memo, okay? Mother effer, think about what you're saying. For example, a syndicator is having some difficulty with this software, and this software manages his syndication, not the property management software. I'm talking about the investor software. So if I'm raising money and I'm asking you for $25,000, $50,000, $100,000 to invest in my apartment building, and I'm also known as a syndicator, and I'm asking you for money, and you're going to give me 50 G's, and I'm going to give you a return, and you might even have equity in the position of this apartment building. It's a wonderful thing. There's millions of these things going down every day. And if you don't know about that, message me, and I would love, if we need to do a podcast on this, I will do it. But you are the CEO of this fund. I mean, you're this investment group, whatever name you want to call it, okay? It's an investment. And, you use the vendor for the software, and the software is not going well at all. And come to find out that software that company is going out of business. And you're like, oh, snap. I got 30 investors or 10 investors, and I got to manage these people. And this software manages these people. It's a place to put documents like financials. It's a place where you can actually interact, maybe send some emails through. I don't know. It's a piece of software that manages your investment opportunities that you are running. Now, here's the thing. If that software company is going out of business, and you got to, as a CEO, you got to pivot and you got to find a new software, or you got to do it old school with hands and papers and notes and spreadsheets, whatever. And you've got to convert to a new software. Do not do this. Don't send an email out saying, our current software company is going out of business, and by the way, you're going to have to start putting in the information in this new software. That's just not professional. That's not CEO. That's boo-boo. What you say is, dear investor, we found a better software to serve your needs, and we would love to walk you through this new software, and here's a link to get started, and if you have any questions, I would love to help you. Your information is important to me. Your business with me, your investment with me is important to me, and let's work on this together. This is the greater good for this investment. Now, how does that sound compared to, the other company's going out of business, and we got to default to a new software? Shit. Listen, if that company's going out of business, is my investment going out of business? The way you handle problems, what makes you a CEO. Come on, can I get an amen? The bigger the problem, the bigger the paycheck. Yes, this is a problem. Your software vendor failed and they suck. But what do? You don't complain. You find an alternative, a better one. It's usually a better one, and I can give you another example, but you get the drift. And then you as a CEO, this is why you're getting paid. This is why you're the leader. You've got to spin this to convert this into success. That's what a CEO does. You take the shit and you make it great. You make it a birthday cake. It's a celebration. You take little money and you make big money. What is a CEO? Come on. You can never show weakness. Now, there's some times if the investment fails and circumstances awry like Katrina and the investment banks and, things happen. But listen, take it serious. It's serious. Okay? So here's a couple more examples. So the other day, actually, I'm going to go through my email. This is another CEO. Okay? I'm not going to say these people's names because I think it's weird. So I know you guys get this. I get emails, solicitations, unsolicited, and it's okay. And I like those to a certain level. But this guy emailed me January 11th, January 16th, and January 22nd, and then January 26th, 2024. All right, the first 3 emails, I never looked at them. Okay, and it's in the subject line. It's like, just left a review for the Savvy Radio Show. Here's the other one. I want to double and triple your listeners for the Savvy Radio Show. That's the subject line. Here's another one. Savvy Radio Show takes effort. Let me help you and save a ton of time. Now, as a CEO, I don't have time to read emails, and I do have assistants. I have 2 of them, but I'm just saying I don't read them. But those caught my eye. I save those. Now, it's January 30th right now. And so, man, this is 30 days. So on the 26th, I get another email. And the subject line says, "It's not you, it's me and Savvy Radio Show." I was like, okay. And again, it's a pretty, not long. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines with double space. And so I was like, that caught my attention. I'm going to schedule it. So I scheduled it 3 days out. He's got an automatic scheduler. I click on it. Now, we're all busy. And so, you feel me? So I was committed. Now, keep in mind, at this point in time, ladies and gentlemen, I did not go to his website. I do this in the accounting firm. We have discovery calls. I got to hear what he has to say. He's got a drip campaign. Hey, give him plus for that. He's got a pretty automated scheduler, message me, got a Zoom call coming. Okay, I'm ready. It's January 30th at noon. Okay, I clear my schedule. I make this happen. Of course, there's 100 things I could be doing. This podcast could be one of them. And actually, the dude bailed. I'll tell you here in a second. This is how I got to this podcast. So I'm ready. It's 12 o'clock. I'm ready. I'm Zoom. I got the Zoom. I'm waiting on the host. 1 minute clicks by. I'm like, The second 2 minutes click by. Then the third minute, somebody shows up. It's noisy in the background. The guy's real effing casual on the video. And I'm like, okay, so then we're about 4 minutes in, and he puts his Apple AirPods in. Okay, I'm like, oh, good. In my mind, I'm like, good. Maybe we'll cut out the noise. It sounds like he was in a warehouse, or it sounded like he was in something. I don't know. It was a okay. So, and then he speaks, and he says this to me. He says, "Did I reach out to you, or did you reach out to me?" And guess what I did? Leave the meeting. Listen, you got to understand, as if you're an effing CEO, the guy's a CEO. He's a one-man show. He runs this whole thing. And I went to, after the fact, I called one of my clients, and I was like, you cannot do this. I went and showed my client the guy's website. I went through the scenario. And then you got to look at it as a real CEO. This guy is the CEO. He runs his own company. He's a self-employed person, CEO of his own little up-and-coming business. He's got this slick ClickFunnels website. Remember, I never went to it. Got all these logos on it, featured in all this bullshit. Mother effing BS. Okay? Listen, look at what's your time worth? How many, and now, of course, the emails that he sent me probably didn't cost him anything. He probably had a drip campaign, but I really don't know, because They were erratic, right? He sent them on January 11th. Okay, 5 days after. Then it was the 22nd, which was 4 days after, and then another 4 days. So maybe these were in sequence. But still, someone or VA went and found my podcast. Did he really make a review? I don't know. Let's click on that email. And he emailed me again. So that was, okay, so it started on January 11th. And then he emailed twice inside there. It's just interesting. But you got to realize as a CEO, what is someone else's time worth? What does it cost you to do that? Now, that guy interrupted my day. Thank God that we're remote and I'm here at the office. So I just turned around and opened up this podcast and got fire going. But he had to stop what he was doing. What did it cost him? You can't do it. You've got to take, this is life and effing death. Every call, every sale, every interaction is 100. You've got to do this right. Or don't do it at all. Be the very best in whatever it is, not just as the word CEO, in life. Don't show up late. Be intentional and be ready. And I'm going to leave with this. I'm sorry about this podcast. I'm serious. I don't know if I'm coming back. I've been sleeping over here. But here's another one. So I just recently hired a service for a project. And I just want to keep this as neutral as possible. So I'm kind of slow here speaking. But this is for in a expensive project. And this cost, this service that I'm paying for is about $25,000, okay, for this service in this space. And it's a common space. Let's just say it's an attorney. Let's say it's a trademark. I'm just making this stuff up. So it's a professional service. So lawyer, professional, architect, you name it, contractor, HVAC. It's expensive situation, but it's more of a desk job, okay? And we got some proposals. We got this $25,000 bid, and these bids range from $20,000 to $50,000. But this $25,000 person was referred, and they do good work, okay? And that's the key skill here. And in professional to a degree, except for when I got to this situation. How do I pay you? Like, how do I pay you? You can only pay me in two ways, this individual expressed. ACH, okay, or Zelle, or Zelda, or Zeal, or some Z word. Not even Cash App. And here's the situation. That's bad business. That's not CEO. I'm telling you right now, you're going to send me money? You're going to hire me as a coach? I'm going to take your money. That's the goal. That's the CEO's job, is revenue, to get it in, the money to flow. If I put a hurdle, it's bad business. It's low grade. It's not professional. I promise you. Someone's going to take your money. Make it as convenient as possible when someone's paying you. Even if it costs you a little bit more money, charge more money. Take the money. And just as a perfect example, me personally, I do coach people. I'm a little old school. I do have side businesses and side hustles, and I use this thing called Square, right? Square 5-10 years ago was the chain, off the chain. Everyone used Square, squareup.com. Check it out. It works. It's a merchant services. It was kind of my savvyinvestors.com. I used to sell products on there. I used to sell T-shirts. I used to sell out of my office, stickers, whatever, books, CDs, blah, blah, blah. I needed an online merchant services, so Square was the bomb back then. Now, I'm older. 10 years, I've been doing Savvy for 13 years. And I've still have had Square this whole time. But I realized that I'm falling behind. And my coaching thing right now is kind of where God has me at this moment, helping entrepreneurs succeed. And I'm got to organize this information. I used to be old school, spreadsheets, Google Docs, keeping notes on my phone. I'm all over the place. So I spent a couple of months researching coaching software that I can run my business with. And it's a side hustle. This is not my main deal. This is just a side situation. And I found this awesome software that I have been using, and they only use Stripe. And I'm pissed. As a CEO, I'm like, damn, I already got Square. I'm already rolling. I'm already taking money. I already got people on automatic draft. But for me to go to the next level, to be a better person, to be a better CEO, to serve my clients better, to use this software that I have vetted out, and it's not, it may not even be the best software. And I realized, and so I bent over and I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm gonna learn Stripe. So I got to get a Stripe count, and of course, it's not as easy as I thought it was. But after I found out that Stripe is the standard now. Now, see how I was CEO? You've got to be forward thinking, and you've got to remember to fail, and you've got to get out of your old ways. I know I dropped a whole bunch of nuggets right there, and what I'm trying to say is like, listen, I'm being left behind. If you don't know what Be Real social media app is, then you're being left behind. There's like 3 other new social media apps, and I was talking to a client the other day. I'm telling you, Facebook is already pivoting. Their demographic, 35 to 55, or it's actually 45 to 60 right now, that is going to age out. And Facebook, I'm telling you, they realize this in a certain degree. That's why they bought Instagram. And I don't even know what demo is Instagram, but what they're doing, though, they are pivoting, and they're pushing out a dating app for more revenue. Billions and billions of dollars of revenue is traded on dating apps. And so they're losing their demographic. They're aging out. We've got to replace that revenue. CEO thinking, let's pivot. So there's so much I'm saying here, and I could spend in podcasts on each and one of those subjects, but I want you to wake the F up and realize, are you a CEO? Are you going to be a CEO? Or are you going to be an employee? And you're going to have to start taking this job as, what does it look like? And start living and breathing it and being a professional about it. And don't be left behind like me, and you've got to adapt. I'm not saying that you should run to every new technology, but you've got to say, what am I doing? Is that the best software at this moment? Do not ever say, if it's not broken or break, don't change it or whatever. If it's not broken, don't change it. That's not how a true CEO is. So I hope today that this is motivating. Sorry for my little cursing in there. It may be offensive to you. And even when I said bent over, I was convicted. And bent over to pick it up is what I meant to say. So you dirty mind people, you hear me. I hope that you're on fire. You know, I was fortunate to coach an old client the other day. He was in a position of selling some assets, and I kind of just slapped him around for 2 minutes. And I'm like, he was like, thank you so much. I'm ready to go tackle the world. And I think that we need to do that as friends. As iron sharpens iron is a very simple a biblical principle. Listen, call your homeboy up right now and fire him up. Like I called my homeboy today and I was like, it's celebration time. Or my homeboy made 18 sales the other day, and you got to celebrate. You never know where you're at, where your homie's at, your girlfriend, whatever. Hype somebody up today. Let them know that they are the CEO of their life. Encourage them. Do big things. Be a professional and call it what it is. You tuned into the SavvyPodcast.com. Go buy assets.
Thanks for listening to the Savvy Radio Show. Glide online and listen to our other motivating episodes at SavvyRadioShow.com. Connect on Twitter at LandlordBook and always be buying assets.